I would like to welcome you to my channel, That Middle-Aged Lady. My name is Denise, and in today's video, I wanted to give an update to several previous videos I have uploaded after experiencing some postmenopausal discharge and some pain in my lower abdomen that would radiate down toward my left ovary. If you are new to my channel, then I hope that you'll check those videos out, since I do go into quite a bit of detail explaining all of my different symptoms and what I have been experiencing thus far. So after going in to see my gynecologist after experiencing this discharge and pain, he ordered me to have a vaginal ultrasound and also a sonohysterogram, since any type of postmenopausal discharge or bleeding always needs to be investigated. This ultrasound did show that I have a very small ovarian cyst on my left ovary that measures 9 millimeters, so just under 1 centimeter, and that I also have several fibroid tumors on my uterus as well. The sonohysterogram did not pick up any abnormalities within the uterus, but my gynecologist still did a biopsy of the endometrial lining anyways, just because that is normal protocol. Because he was concerned about this cyst on my ovary, even though it did not meet any of the criteria for any type of malignancy, he still ordered for me to have a CA-125 blood test done, which is a cancer marker to test for ovarian cancer, namely because ovarian cysts are very uncommon in postmenopausal women, since most of them are caused from ovulation, and postmenopausal women obviously no longer ovulate, and also because as a woman begins to age, her chances rise to develop ovarian cancer and is most commonly seen in postmenopausal women. Just a side note, fibroid tumors are also uncommonly seen in postmenopausal women, since estrogen is what can help them to grow, and when a woman goes through menopause, her estrogen levels begin to deplete. So a lot of the time, women who had fibroid tumors will actually see them shrink after menopause rather than to see them develop or grow. I did just get the results back for both the biopsy and the CA-125 blood test, which is why I wanted to do this update video and let everybody know what happened with that. So the biopsy came back normal, meaning no cancerous cells were seen or detected in that sample of the endometrial lining, which is obviously good. And then the CA-125 blood test also came back normal, meaning my levels were not raised. However, you have to take that test with a grain of salt, meaning that it is not 100% accurate. So you can have a false positive, meaning that the levels were raised even though the woman doesn't have cancer, or you can have a false negative, meaning the levels were normal, but come to find out the woman did have cancer. And so usually a doctor will want to just do some follow-ups, maybe have another repeat ultrasound or just monitor you, just to make sure that whatever is going on with your ovary, it does not end up turning into ovarian cancer. I do go back myself to have my ultrasound repeated in a couple weeks, just to see if that cyst has grown, stayed the same, or perhaps gone away altogether. And at that time, I'm also going to ask him about those fibroid tumors, since they really didn't get discussed during that first ultrasound. I think both of us were just more concerned about that ovarian cyst and making sure that it was an ovarian cancer. I also plan to talk to him about this brown discharge, since I'm still experiencing it every single day. And I had planned on asking him about this pain that had been quite debilitating and would affect me all throughout my day. There were many nights where I would lay in bed at night and just cry, wishing somebody could tell me not only what was causing it, but what I could do to make it go away. But then suddenly, about a week ago, it just completely went away on its own. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure why. I'm really afraid to question it because I don't want to end up jinxing myself. But at the same time, I am absolutely baffled as to what could not only be causing this discharge, but this pain that I was experiencing, and now on top of it, for this pain to suddenly go away. And after really thinking about it, the only thing that I can possibly think of that makes any sense to me would be the Vagifem that I was put on due to having vaginal atrophy. Not because the Vagifem itself causes this brown discharge and pain, but because it contains estrogen, and estrogen can cause fibroid tumors to grow, which can cause brown discharge and can also cause pain. Which, to take that a step further, once I started to notice this discharge, I decided to stop using the Vagifem, mainly because I know certain cancers are estrogen dependent. And so the last thing I wanted to do was to be feeding any type of cancer I might have had. And so even though my gynecologist didn't think it was necessary, my instincts told me it would be best to just stop using the Vagifem altogether. So now that it has been 2 months since I stopped using the Vagifem and inserting that estrogen into my vagina, I'm thinking that the fibroid tumors must be shrinking because they're no longer being fed by that estrogen. And because they're shrinking, That is why I stopped experiencing that pain. It's definitely playing on my mind and is something that I do plan to talk to the doctor about when I go back in to have that ultrasound repeated, since I feel like it's this double-edged sword for me. Since if I stay on Vagifem, then I'm going to have relief from the symptoms of my vaginal atrophy, but yet I will have the pain of the fibroid tumors. And yet, if I don't go on the Vagifem, then I will have relief from the fibroid tumors, but then chances are the symptoms of the vaginal atrophy are going to come back. So in a sense, I'm darned if I do, and I'm darned if I don't, which seems to be the theme throughout my life. And like I've always said throughout my videos, if there's something uncommon or abnormal to be had, then chances are I'm going to be the one to get it. It's just the way life goes for me. I do realize that there are a couple different options that my doctor could recommend, with one of them being a hysterectomy, or at least a partial hysterectomy where my uterus is removed. That way I don't have to worry about the fibroid tumors coming back, and I can use the Vagifem safely. And also maybe even, a full hysterectomy where he goes ahead and takes the ovaries as well, so I don't have to worry about that cyst coming back or even turning into cancer. But that's a big surgery, and it also opens up a whole nother can of worms. And then I was also thinking that maybe I could just take the Vagifem just every once in a while whenever I start to feel my symptoms coming back. That way it's just a little bit of estrogen that I'm inserting into the vagina rather than using it twice or even once a week. And maybe that might cut down on the amount of estrogen that is being fed to these fibroid tumors. And maybe that might be an option for me to try as well. All I know is that I feel like I've been to hell and back with first experiencing all of the symptoms from the vaginal atrophy, being that horrible burning and those urinary tract infections, only to get relief from the Vagifem and being so incredibly happy for that, only to turn around and to start experiencing this weird discharge and this pain, of which I went to the hospital and had a CT scan done for it, went to the gastroenterologist, had a colonoscopy, an upper GI, and a HIDA scan to check the function of my gallbladder, since my gastroenterologist would have sworn that it had something to do with my gallbladder. Now having this vaginal ultrasound and the sonohysterogram, which was definitely not the funnest thing in the world to have done. And here I am all of these months later, and even though I know that, I have a cyst on the ovary, I do have fibroid tumors, definitely doesn't appear to be cancer, and that gives me a ton of relief, I still want to know what's causing it and what exactly I can do to keep it from coming back. And so that's basically where I'm at with all of this. I'm going to wait for these couple of weeks to go in and see the doctor, have the ultrasound repeated, and then I feel like I'm going to have to be a little bit firm with him, since I don't really feel like he's been addressing a lot of these issues with me, and find out exactly what I can do. I kind of feel like I already have my mind made up that I'm going to go ahead and just only use the Vagifem only if I'm experiencing a little bit of that burning, just to keep that vaginal atrophy from coming back. And then if I start to experience that pain in my lower abdomen again, then obviously I'll know it's definitely caused from the Vagifem. But at least I'll be doing something to keep that vaginal atrophy from coming back, and then being aware of it so that I don't allow these fibroid tumors to grow too big again. That's really the only thing I can think to do, other than to having surgery. And to be honest with you, at this point in my life, I'd rather not if I absolutely don't have to. And so the saga continues for that middle-aged lady. And even though I'm happy, obviously I'm relieved to know that it doesn't appear to be any type of cancer, I still feel like after all of these months, I should have had a solution by now. So all I can do is wait for those 2 weeks to come up, go back in and have the ultrasound repeated, talk to my gynecologist about all of my concerns, let him know what my thought process is as far as only using the Vagifem when I need it, and see what he has to say, and then go from there. I will definitely be back to give everybody an update. As always, I feel like that's all I ever do is update everybody without ever really having any kind of a solution to it. But again, at least I am moving in the right direction, and I'm very happy to find out that it doesn't appear to be cancer. I definitely want to tell everybody who is on Vagifem for your vaginal atrophy that in no means am I trying to say throughout my videos that I don't think it's a good idea to be on it. Personally, it was a lifesaver for me, and I don't know what I would have done had I not been prescribed it back when I was experiencing all of those symptoms. So even to this day, if I had to do it all over again, absolutely, I would have went on the Vagifem. I do think it's safe. I do think it's effective. I do think it does exactly what it's meant to do. Just unfortunately, in my case, I think it happened to bring out these weird things in me, which again, isn't a surprise. I do seem to get all of these weird things that pop up. So definitely, I would never be in a position to tell anybody not to use it. I honestly think it's a fluke. I don't think it's very common. And if I had to do it all over again, I definitely would be on the Vagifem to treat my symptoms of vaginal atrophy. So by no means am I trying to say in this video that I don't think Vagifem is safe to be on or something that everybody should go off of. I definitely think it does its job, and I definitely think it's a godsend to many women who have been diagnosed with vaginal atrophy. If you are a postmenopausal woman who has also experienced any of these things after being put on Vagifem, being those ovarian cysts or the fibroid tumors, I would love to hear about it, especially since this does seem to be uncommon, and I would especially like to hear what you ended up doing about it. So if that's you, I hope that you'll feel free to leave a comment. And then anybody else, as always, please feel free to leave a comment or any questions you may have, and I'll be happy to answer anything that I can. Other than that, I'll be back with another update as soon as I go in for that other ultrasound and have a chance to talk to my gynecologist and keep everybody updated as to what exactly is going on. I'm going to hope and pray that pain doesn't come back, and who knows, maybe if I'm off that Vagifem long enough, that brown discharge will eventually go away as well. I guess only time will tell. Other than that, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and for supporting me, and I will look forward to seeing everybody again next time.